然后我们接下来进行下一位的发表。下一位发表人是李义勤，李义勤老师是取得伦敦金匠大学的博士文凭，目前任教于南华大学民族音乐学系的作曲组。他想讨论自己如何以即兴和电音来作为自己作曲创作发展和工具。除了即兴和作曲，他也会探讨理论与美学的影响和背景。我们请第4位发表人李义勤来为我们发表，时间为20分钟。
主持人潘老师、曾老师，对不起，大家好。今天很高兴，对不起，还有张明哈，各位老师好，还有各位这个先进还有各位这个今天参加的这个会议的来宾，大家都希望大家都平安健康。那今天很高兴，就是说能够有这个机会来谈这个事情。我今天想要呈现就是 composing with improvisation and electronics。那接下来我会尽量用一点中文，然后夹杂那个英文的方式来进行。Okay. All right. Before we begin, I'd like to talk about a little bit about myself. As a composer, I'm always seeking the best way to express myself and also the world. And I try my best to draw all kinds of inspiration from all the presidents, especially from all the teachers like Pan 老师、曾老师, and even from my colleague, Zhao Ming. They are also part of my sources, and I thank them dearly. And here I'm going to present my works. All right, let's start from this first. So I'll start from this one, Metamorphosis. It's a piece with saxophone, soprano, piano, and electronics. So I want to show people about these works I've done, maybe just 1 or 2 minutes to have a kind of understanding about what I do.
Einmal hüt, natürlich, aber nie für mich gestanden.
Okay, sorry about that. We don't have too much time. So as you can see, I mix a lot of images. Sometimes Syrian refugee, especially this kid just dying on the beach. It happened a few years ago. Now everyone forgot. So that's another story. So I'm going to show you another one. This is Howell in the Attic. This one is a story based on the story I took from Zhuangzhou Mengdie, and I turned it into totally a different version of it. This is Howell. His real name is Howell too. He's a trombonist, and so I use him as a part of the story in this film. He dreamed himself being as a butterfly, and he cannot tell whether himself is a butterfly or not, or Howell. Okay, so we don't have much time here again, so apology.
Hello, Jones. Dreaming he was a butterfly. Or if I am a butterfly, dreaming that he is Hello, Jones. But that's his own. This is what it feels like.
Okay. I don't think we have time to listen to my studio piece, so I'll save it later, maybe in the noontime. So let's begin. First of all, let me theorize a little bit about the methods I use, the reason why I use improvisation and electronics as my device and the process. It is because I want to explore what else can we do in terms of being a composer. I'm not totally satisfied with traditional writing, and judging from the music nowadays and the multimedia and the culture that we have, I think there must be something else I can do to collaborate and to express I, myself, and us in a special way. So this is how I begin. And to do that, I need to do some research, and especially some precedents and inspiration. Here, of course, we can always go back to Stockhausen and John Cage. Everyone knows that, but just want to be a little bit specific on this point. Stockhausen's intuitive music, everyone know him, but this piece is quite special because he used short text and some verbal instructions. And John Zorn, who's most famous for his game piece, is rule-based, and in the same time, he served himself as a conductor, doing the hand sign to tell the orchestra to pan or change the ideas or to do the tutti and sorts of variation. And for the studio composition, when I first heard Gesang der Jünglinge, the 5 channels thing in Berlin, I was totally shocked. The music itself moved me completely. So that's how I decided to incorporate an electroacoustic thing into my composition and contact, of course, with percussion and piano, electronics. And in 2004, I met Triple Wishart in Universität Technik, and over there I took his lesson quite a lot, and so I got his insight into electronic music, especially the way how he composed. And lastly, well, Cage Oratorio and his experiment with Rauschenberg and forever partner, Miss Cunningham. All these, they form a kind of pedestal or formation for me to look back, or I should say, to look forward to. To me, they don't live in the past. Somehow, they always there in front of me. Okay. After the theorization, let's talk about the thing that I discovered in terms of improvisation and the extended technique that I used inside my works. It is the musicality, the musicians that they carried that inspired me, and they never failed to surprise me. And technique and skills they use and embody together with instruments, including Chen Jun, my wife, faithfully supports me all the time in every gig I had. And the voice she had is just there. And thankfully, with her help, I managed to find a special space to project a certain kind of identity in order to reveal something. So as a composer, we always find something imminent, something necessary for us to break through. So this is the thing that I'm trying to explore with. And when I improvise, or I should say when I compose or collaborate with others, most of the time I discover that, am I revealing the others, or am I revealing myself as the others? So this is the entity that I've come across. And so this is a strategy or a skill. So I use it as a tool for adaptation for my composition. Okay, here comes Husserl's, phenomenology, self-reflection. The reason why I picked this word is because I, the man, as Husserl put it, is nevertheless is the truest one, and in the same time, in this realm of reality, we don't just exist as one single ego. Actually, we have to live together with the others, and that's called the we. So we form the we subjectivity, and in the same time, during the process, there's something being reflected, and so this is the thing I want to do. The reason why you see those pictures, people who died or people who cried, running away from war, it is because I want to reflect certain kinds of reality. Okay, and not just that. The reason why we do music, it is because we want to inspire people. The reason why we listen to music, because we want to be inspired. So how and what else can we do as a composer? So whenever I face my own materials, all right, what else can I do? I can transform that, of course. You can do some permutation things with it. And the process I use is I adapt their ideas in terms of the execution or interpretation of my texts, and then turn them and regenerate into something my own. Nevertheless, there's some transgression between reading and executing, and especially composers, performers, or audience and the players. And this is the trivial question, but I think it is at the same time very interesting for all of us, as it articulates the relationship between all of us. Again, we. So musicians here, they cohere and adapt, collaborate with the composer, because here, I, as a composer, I want them to improvise together with me. So there will be something accidental and unexpected, and I see and accept it, that as a kind of a beauty. It is beautiful if you look at it the other way. Improvisation and this creative process, it always come out and emerge itself as a matter with many things mingled together. Whether it is ordered or disordered, I enjoy doing it, and in the same time, I'm feeling the ego, and in the same time, the supra-consciousness. Okay, this word is coined by Stockhausen. We'll talk about that later.
李老师，差不多有5分钟的时间。
Okay.
对。
All right. Stockhausen used intuitive music and improvisation. He refused to recognize the true value of improvisation. He instead used supra-conscious against not conscious or unconscious. Of course, and according to the score, everything has to be followed strictly instructions. How long, and what else can we do? Meditate and to do the music, not to do or follow the styles or pick up or copy the others, one or another. Here, my conclusion for this is it's very intriguing, but I want to use an improvisation as a device, not as a negation. Okay. When it comes to electronic sound, as I mentioned, Trevor Wishart, he inspired me quite a lot. There are 3 things he said. It is an audible design, using any sounds. The first one is using any sounds for musical composition. Second, the sound may be transformed, but only limited to composer's imagination. Third, musical structure that depends on establishing audible relationships amongst sound materials. Okay, that explained quite a lot to me plainly, just simply because we can use all kinds of sounds, not just the sine tone, not just the filter one, not just the white noise. I want to use musicians. I want to use a real music. So what does the real music means here? Here comes the part of my theory, because whenever they perform or they do music together, there are certain moments I want to keep. So in this instance, I encapsulate that particular moment by recording. So this is the way how I come up with this encapsulation of moments in them. And of course, with layers and process, I have come up with certain kinds of diagrams and always go back to graphic structure. Here you can see we do have motifs, materials, and text. And of course, I can show you the graphic score later. After the process of cutting up, form the parts, and clips, and takes, and then encapsulated to form moments, fragments, to be processed with grain or granulations, and remixed together again. And everything will be remixed in the final stage. As you can see here, there are 4 stages: pre-composition, scores; second stage, improvisation; third stage on composition, mixing and moments; fourth stage and synthesis. And not just that, so there are many things and many processes that I have done through all these things. So this is the basic graphic sketch I have at my hands. So when musicians, when they first time they get this paper or this score, they'll read it and we'll talk about it and we'll say and discuss about who should do this, who should do that, what else can we do with this, and how to interact with each other, all based on these small diagrams. And of course, spectrogram. Here you see on the lower right picture, there's a very special sinusoid sound modulated between voice and laptops. It's on A, I guess. This is articulation. All right, so this is the textual instructions for my one of my piece. Strictly followed the tempo, at least you try to. And here comes the conclusion. All right, I see a composition as a kind of a transcendental process toward the end, out of the asynchronous time and space. So the openness and the work is always in movement, will cohere and combine together. And this is something I want to show, and this is something I will try as my exploration. The rest is for the relationship between the composers and the musicians. Something is free, and in the same time, something is restrained. And the revelation and freedom to do things together, as in the Lebenswelt or the life world, as we pointed out earlier. Okay, this paper is dedicated to my parents, and thank you for your patience and attention. Any comment is considered precious to me. Thank you.
非常感谢李老师。那么请董老师来发表。
请问一下，我是要用英文还是要中文？
都可以。
都可以。
都可以，都可以。
Okay, so I thank you, Yiqing, for this fantastic presentation. I think it's the main aim to just find the meaning of the composition or composing this action, I think it's also a special to find the expression of an artist or even a composer in this presentation. Is I think the main issues, and also included the social responsibility, which composer have. I think although serialism in the 50s is also a kind of social responsibility from the composer due to the World War II. Another thought from this presentation, I think this utilization of composition in the improvisation in the composition, I think in 17th and 18th, Winkle Globocar, composer and musician, also Matthias Sparlingen in Germany, they are also teaching improvisation, and also a public some books about how we improvise. Sorry, maybe it's kind of noisy now, feedback from microphone somewhere, but I continue. I think also the experiment with technology in 60s introduced from John Cage by this movement of fluxus and came from Dadaism. Also, this is a big influence on music to think about renew, about the really meaning of composition or art, even though art. 那我现在简短的就是用中文可能再讲述一下，就是其实我觉得重点在于说，我们怎么一个艺术家和创作者怎么去找寻自己的音乐，而且因为我觉得所有的音乐都会反映整个社会，就包含50年代的序列主义，它也是在反映一个2次世界大战被破坏、被破碎的一个社会状态中重新的整合哈，在一个这样的时代里面，那再加上John Cage个人的一些思维所引发出来的借用东方哲学所引发出来的一些机遇性，这两个综合在一起，我觉得其实是也可以看出两个人都是因为社会的人的存在，在这个社会里面，他们所引发出来在艺术里面的一些责任和一些他们需要去面对的问题。那尤其是之后在50年代的一些即兴的东西，其实从爵士一直过来，或者我们怎么说，在各种世界音乐或是其实都可以看到很多即兴的元素在里面。那但是在这边特别被拿来引用，作为一个时代的一个技术跟语法。我想在德国7、8年代Winkle Globocar 跟 Matthias Sparlinger 他们特别对于即兴这件事情做了很理论的介绍，还有练习如何即兴，尤其是个人或团体各式各样的想法或作品的创作。我想这个可以引申到其实improvisation is like really like living composition， 就是一个在现场的 composition， 那它就是一个就是发生之后就不会再回来的一个创作的一个过程。那所以我想从李老师的这个介绍可以看到，就是说其实作曲家还是有一个这样的一个就是一个对于创作不断的质疑哈，就是还有对于从他生长的环境里面不断的再去隐私里面。但是我想这整个脉络还是承袭了整个音乐史50、60年代一直到电子音乐的发展，电子音乐又给了各式各样的所谓的 deconstructive 的这个 methods， 把所有的东西解析再合成，其实这个都还是来自50、60年代这个序列手法的一个延伸。那现在只是有一个小小的问题要请教一下李老师，对于就是说怎么去整合，就像您说的你觉得Sparlinger是 super conscious， 就是说怎么样去整合一个就是当个人主义很强烈的时候，但是他又要在你的作品里面演出，那有没有可能会碰到一些就是你觉得他的东西不是他的即兴成分不适合你的作品的时候，就是怎么去第一个在你的作品的个性里面去框架出一个演奏家他的个性和演出的一些特质，这个是不是可以请您分享一下您在做这类型，就而且是您自己创作的一个这个主要的技术来说，您怎么去面对？我们听不到，您可能要开麦克风。
对不起，improvisation 它其实一直都是存在着。那作曲家在创作的时候，其实也是在使用 improvisation。那我们只是把它 transform 过来。那另外一个事情就是你刚刚点到一个事情，就是当我们碰到就是一个 something out of expectation 怎么办？那这样子 players 跟 musician 我们常常会有你记不记得我跟你的一次合作，我们做一个南管的一个小生，那他唱一个小生，他不是唱那个大招嘛，然后你做古筝I totally let go, remember? Yes, because I know you. 有时候我觉得这个是一个 revelation， 因为I'm not seeking to control， 我不是在寻求一个控制，但是我在寻求一个 reframing， 我在寻求一个 platform to reframe something together and 因为有一些 text， 有一些 direction， 那这些 direction 这些方向呢，帮助 players 甚至于 composers like 去思考 ，OK， 当我们在做这个事情的时候，是不是这样做，这个表现比较appropriate？ 那我 I'm trying to appropriate myself as a composer, yes, but in the same time, I'm trying to appropriate all these things all together， 因为player 本身他一定会这样那样，所以我也会有我自己的想法。我觉得就是说，就是所以我必须要 remix。比如说我有8个 players， 那最后要怎么办？那有一些这个东西，我觉得 maybe not so appropriate, so I need to cut it, so I need to take it out. This is the reason why I use 这是为什么我必须要用这种结构性的方式去 remix。那如果说是现场呢？现场有2个方式我会这样做。第一个方式就是 act as instigator, like Johnson did. All right, stop. Okay, here, there. Well, 这是一种 approach。另外一种approach 就是 let it be。我觉得 give it a space， 因为大家都需要这个 space， so we need to learn from each other。你有没有发现，当我们 everyone fighting for 我们自己的 identity 的时候，the sound becomes crowded and noisy. It becomes too dense, and then people cannot tell music anymore. So 我的意思就是，也许有的时候我们必须要 withdraw ourselves， 从这个地方我们要退一点点 ，give a space and then let go. Improvisation 当然你刚刚说的很棒，就是有几个不同年代，然后英国就是AMM 的Andy Provost 这几个人，然后我很幸运的就是我那时候刚到英国伦敦 Goldsmiths 的时候，然后就 Andy Provost 就在我前面那个演出，我说这样好有趣，这个鼓手是谁？打得很好啊。That's how I think, but then after the few discussions, and then I find out, 我才知道 ，OK， 原来 improvisation is attitude. So then I asked myself, so composition is attitude too. So this is the conclusion I got that night. 我觉得其实就是一种sincerity， 然后很重要。那我觉得 心诚则灵。只要有这个想法，coherent mind, similar mindset together, everything can work out. I believe.
好，谢谢李老师，谢谢董老师的分享他的想法。那有其他的与会人想提问题吗？
我很好奇，那个你的进度是从一个规划开始吗？因为你说你先 you first start with the graph or with the spectrogram, or you said there was a pre-compositional stage.
Yes, and then
and is that actually the planning of a structure, and then telling the players what to do to give you the contents of the structure? I'm sort of unclear about how the process works.
Okay, it's twofold things. First of all, I might go to them and show them, okay, this is the thing that we are going to do tonight, or later this afternoon, we're going to have a recording. And so we will discuss and work on this and that. And afterward, we have a kind of extension and articulation and interpretation in terms of the different ideas. We'll come up with a few takes. And from those takes, I'll try to cut them down. Of course, I always try to pick the best take, the best moment I have. And then the real structure will be revealed. Why do I say this? Because during the cutting stage, there's something else that you want to do, you want to try. So I want to extend this part longer, or I want to change this part, or cut it up, or slice them, or pass it through a granulation, or change it its form completely.
So would you say that it's like you're doing a montage in a movie, the kind of approach? So would you say that is kind of improvised as well? In a way, you could say that it's improvised and that you sort of make it up on the fly. You have this material and you start putting it together and say, oh, well, but I think it should go here or it should go there. Or do you have like a pre-planned structure that you're going to go for?
I try to follow the pre-planned thing, but the point is there's something else that inhibited me to go there. For example, the voice, the melody itself, the way how changing projected, it should be kept as a whole because I like it. So it will be kept as a whole. But for the following, I mean, something beneath is something else that I want to take it away. So then I need to change the structure as well. For example, I can make this, turn this into theme 1 or theme 2. And I don't like the piano part here. So I try to move around and see how it goes. And if something wrong, and I'll try to do again or find other, try to dig up other materials. So it's not entirely improvisation, but instead it's in trials and errors. There will be many mistakes, and I have to make it right. The reason why I say there's some relationship between sounds. Each sound object itself, they have their kind of a mentality. If you know what I'm saying, this. Okay, this is very faint and very docile or something tranquil, quiet. And if I want to keep this, then something underneath has to change. But in the same time, if I want to distort this, of course I can also do that. So I can do I can change this material in 3 ways. First of all, I can dissect it, or I keep it as original. And the third way is I extend it, I distort it. So this is the way how I remix and come up with a structure with it in a final way. So yes, you're right. The structure is not, well, during the audio mixing stage, it's not entirely there, but gradually it will come out, it will reveal itself. If you have time to listen to my work, Paradigm #1 Fables, it has a very special process. Yes, Dong-Ming, please.
Yes. So, like, do you expect special musician perform your composition?
Like-minded musicians, not everyone. I'm sorry.
Yes. I mean,
like-minded. You have to know what is improvisation. You have to know extended technique. You have to understand what is avant-garde and what is modern music. You have to understand all of that. I don't believe anyone can come up and say, hey, I can do improvisation. Yes, in his own way. To the monkey or birds or dogs and playing keyboards and striking chords, but that doesn't mean, does it equate to music? Is that the music you want to hear? Yes. Paul.
Yeah, just a quick question. I would like to know, like, what do you give the performers to work with? Like, do you just say, okay, whatever you want is fine? Or do you say, well, I want you to do something that sounds really rough and aggressive, and then something that's really mild and tame? Or do you give them a graphic notation and let them interpret it?
Yeah.
Or how do you get them, how do you prod them into doing something that you want?
Yes, I pick my players. I know some of them will listen and some of them won't. One of the basses I cooperate with, he just look at me, okay, read my scores, and he just put it down. And he just do totally something.
So you say you give him a score. That's what I want to know.
Yes.
You give him a score. What is on the score?
Yes.
Is it notes, or is it words, or is it a graph?
For example, this is a graph, right? And honestly speaking, there's some piano score, short one, only for myself. I might borrow Burial or Stockhausen's piano piece or sonata or Boulez, and then put it on my piano stand. Hold on, okay, the triads here, okay. I just started from there, but that doesn't mean I'll use it entirely. No, I just use it as a kind of inspirational source for myself as a pianist. Furthermore, for the musicians to work together, I have other approaches, because we all have to come to the same mind or same tendency to go somewhere. So we have to negotiate something like that. And I'll come out and I'll give them the hand, the gesture, to tell them, okay, this is the point that you have to go down, lower your volume. I want something else, and go up. This is something I need to do to introduce them to a different structure or introduce a different idea, because believe me or not, I know where they should go, because I had all the structure in my head when I listened to the way they play. For example, someone do this. This is staccatos or something like that. And I know he's going to play it for a while. And someone else will go on with like a sustained nose or extension and such. I'll let them do that. I'll follow it. And in certain points of time, I'll change it, because I know this has to be changed. You can say I do it on
李老师
Yes, I'm sorry.
我看到林千君已经很早以前就举手了，我觉得我们应该
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay, because my questions already went to Paul.
Okay.
Okay, so it's fine.
Yes. So you got a picture of it. This is Jesus. You have been working with me so many years. You still have this. So you see, not everyone truly really understands it.
我可以问一个问题吗？
Yes, yes.
因为我们早上的场次快到了，时间快到了，我想快点问一下，社会责任，作曲家怎么可以负这个社会责任？是以他的创作吗？还是他怎么把他的作品推动出去？还是什么方式？
Well, you can write a requiem, isn't it? And you have Stabat Mater and something like that, or a mass. And I think it's part of a social responsibility for composers alike. And
但是您的 Metamorphosis 那部作品
right
也有明显的有一点跟社会的关联，对吧？因为您用了那些就是令人很震撼的那些照片，就是那些形象，但是您的用法是真的是令人很不舒服，因为我们看到这么就是一个在经过非常痛苦的一个经验，或者已经死亡，就是死亡过的一个人在那里，但是你让我们看的时间特别短，然后很快就切到完全不一样的、不相关的内容，然后它引起我的思考，您是不是让我们像就是反思，就是我们的主流的媒体如何对待这些灾难或者这些不好的发生，是会很快就过去了，然后就是今天就会提到它，明天已经忘记了，会是这样的一个效果吗
？You're totally spot on these things. I know the death scene, the body is horrible. Yes, and the media is doing that every day. No one protests, right? And every day we are doing horrible things to the environment, and we just hate to admit it. So I come up with this strategy. My apology to the deaf and to people I have accidentally offended. Sorry. I mean to do that. As a residual image, I slice them. I just want to impose that kind of thing to remind people, yes, a little kid died because of this and that. This is the consequence. This is there's a karma about it. If people can come up and early recognize the crucial issues they should have done something else. And nevertheless, we keep on seeing things get delayed, postponed, or people just try to stay away from it. And should music be beautiful? Isn't this world beautiful?
那下午Microfinity 的主题演讲应该会提到这个问题，所以对。
I met him years ago when that goes and
好，那因为时间的关系，我们早上的研讨会到这里，谢谢李老师，也再次谢谢郭老师，另外谢谢董老师的负责评论人。然后谢谢各位与会的人，然后我们下午的场次是1点半开始，所以我们1点半再继续，谢谢。
好，谢谢，
好，谢谢，拜拜，
拜，
谢谢，
下午见。